welcome to part 2 of my tiny home cleaning video where I take you with me on a tour of my disaster apartment and then hopefully motivate you to clean your disaster areas by doing exactly that for myself. There are quite a few messes to be taken care of in this video, most of them relating directly to my sweet, wonderful 6-year-old twins who make such disgusting messes, especially in the bathroom. It is a part of the video that I wasn't even sure about showing, honestly, because, my kids just... I love them so much, but man, they can make things pretty gross. And so a testament to that is their bedroom, which is where I'm starting. And this room used to get a lot worse. I had to lay down some new rules a few months ago where they're not allowed to bring any food or, any snacks, any treats, nothing edible into their room. And, obviously that was kind of already a rule and it was somewhat enforced, but my children are absolutely the type to try and, get one over on me. So if I am not completely actively present and super aware of pretty much every move that they're making, they know when they can pull one over on me or when they can sneak something past me. So that had been happening a bit too often. And when I would go in there to clean, it would just be worse than I had expected, because I didn't know that there were 6 granola bar wrappers stuffed under Hunter's mattress down here. So anyways, it's been a lot better now that they know there would be consequences if they do not follow these rules, right? So they've been a lot better about it, and as a result, the bedroom is very messy, but it's not dirty. And that just makes it a lot more pleasant for me to come in and do these cleanups for them. I recently got them both new bedding from Amazon. They're bed in a bag sets, and I love them so much because this is, the first time that they got to choose their own sets versus me choosing what I think they would like and buying it. And they chose sets that are so perfectly in tune with their individual personalities. Hunter is such a little survivalist, he's very into the idea of being out in the woods and having to build campfires, and he's very interested in the military, so the camo totally fits him. And then this beautiful rainbow is just such a perfect representation of Avery as a person. He's very exciting and bright, but also very soft and tender and sweet, and it's just very nice to see how their personalities shine through in their choices. As you can see, I just like to hang their stuff from heaviest to lightest so that it's easiest for them to get themselves dressed in the morning. This is where it feels like the real hard work starts, because their little toys, all the little pieces that go with their toys, it was just an absolute mess in here. Nothing was categorized anymore. They had played with things and put them away and played with things and put them away, and so it just nothing was where it needed to be, and it was at the point where they weren't even really playing with their toys because the kids couldn't find what they were looking for when they went to go look for it. So this is the start of the whole process to just separate and reorganize all of these toys, these little Lego pieces and Paw Patrols and what have you. We had just washed all of their toys a couple of weeks ago. So I didn't need to take them into the bathtub and wash them, but I did want to reorganize them because I do remember after we had washed them, I was just like, okay, guys, put them away however you want, which, again, they're 6, so their organization skills leave a lot to be desired. goodness, this family really hoards blankets. I don't know what it is. All three of us love throw blankets. And, there are so many that I just can't part with for whatever reason. They're part of a memory or like a keepsake. But we have way too many blankets. So at this point, I know I have to purge at least a couple of them. Which is never easy, but tiny home, not much space for storage, especially big things like blankets. was like a multi-step cleaning process, just because of how much of it there was to clean up. At first I just used a dry rag to get the dry chunks onto the floor where I could deal with them after, and then I used a wet rag to get up the parts that were stuck to the table. And now I had just sprayed everything down with the Hertel disinfectant that I like, and I'm letting it sit for a few minutes because in order for the disinfecting to actually work, you have to let it sit for a few minutes while I pick up some of the dry chunks that I had pushed to the floor a few minutes prior. From here, it's just a quick Swiffer wet jet mop all over the floor, and I am done for the night. Now, here's the next morning. As you can tell, I am in no way excited to tackle this bathroom. It looks like I have not touched it for months, but I swear to you, despite the spider webs and all of this mess, I clean it every week, sometimes twice a week. It's wiped down multiple times a day sometimes. It's just what happens when you have twins, 6-year-old twins. They spend a lot of time in this bathroom, and sometimes it's just to play around in the mirror, and a lot of times it is to, make potions. I don't know if anybody else did that when they were kids, but I remember always wanting to be in the bathroom to make like little mixes and potions out of all of the soaps and lotions that are available in there. So I know my kids do that because I come in and find interesting messes and like the remnants of child science all around every day. So, two things about my house make it very tempting to spiders. One is that we live in a semi-basement apartment, which means, we're halfway in the ground, so they don't have to do that much work to get here. And then the other thing, just being that I have a lot of plants, and plants provide a lot of what, spiders go looking for in a household. So we have spider webs that show up pretty quickly, and I am dusting the corners and the ceilings every 2 or 3 weeks, because if I do not, my children will see spider webs, decide that spiders have invaded our home, and demand that we move. ever use reusable rags or anything like that on the toilet, near the toilet, you will never see me using something to clean the toilet and then washing it and using it again. It just does not happen. On the occasion that I do a really deep clean that involves one of my old toothbrushes or something, like every single thing that touches the toilet every time I clean goes right into the garbage after, which is one of the reasons that I switched to these disposable toilet brushes. The heads are disposable and flushable, and they already have a cleaning product embedded in them. So when they get wet, it all comes out. As you can see, the water's turning blue. I love these things because I can just flush it, and then I take the handle, spray it down with some disinfectant, and put it away to be washed. Of all the greenery you see in my house, about 85 to 90% of it is real. I have some really cute little fake plants like this one that I keep in places that just don't get enough light to support even the lowest light plants in the long term. So here on my little product shelf, nothing is too crazy, too out of order. I tend to use a product and then put it back in its place pretty much right away. All of my nail polishes stay up high where the kids cannot reach them and don't even really know that they exist, because they would just be making a mess with them. As soon as I turn my back, I know it. And so, yeah, I put my products back as neatly and nicely as possible, and it doesn't ever really get super chaotic or messy on this shelf, but I do like to just make sure that everything in the baskets is still, all of my products are still being used, and there's nothing that I can take out, and try to minimize the amount of stuff that I keep because, again, tiny house. My bathtub is by far my least favorite thing about this apartment, and I have been able to say that about almost every bathtub that I've had in any apartment around Montreal ever, with the exception of when I was living in a house. I really don't think I've ever had like a nice bathtub. They just don't seem to be a priority, I guess, when landlords are doing renovations in the apartments. And so we have these really like shallow bathtubs that have caulking around them that is just so yellow, and no matter what I do, I cannot whiten it. I have tried multiple products. If you have any suggestions, anybody who's dealt with this, like, let me know, because it drives me crazy seeing this and walking away from it having just cleaned, feeling like it still looks dirty because it's yellowed. It's horrible. I hate the staining, and I want to do something that fixes it, but also I do not own this place, right? I'm a renter, so I'm not going to do anything too extreme. I know what you're thinking. These are some dirty floors. And I agree. My kids drop their toothpaste on the floor almost every time that they brush their teeth. So even if I take care of these floors weekly, it's always still a mess. I use my vacuum in here, but I do immediately spray it down with disinfectant after. And I do that for every piece that gets brought in here. After the disinfectant is sat for a while, after I'm done with cleaning, I'm going to clean that as well. I use the wet jet with the disposable heads around the toilet because we all know how gross it can be when you've got little boys. I just don't want to put my steam mop around the toilet. But I use the steam mop for every other part of the bathroom, especially those spots where the kids have dropped their toothpaste and then just pretended that they didn't see it and walked out of the room, because nothing gets that up quite as efficiently as steam. And from here we have the reveal of everything all nice and clean. This is the end of this video. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff that everybody asks for. Come see me on Instagram at Aleshia.Jordan, and I'll see you next time.